Good evening and salutations, my Days of Our Lives fans. I'm just gonna call it right now. Eventually, Sunny and Leah are gonna hook up. Yeah, it's gonna be a thing. We all see it coming a mile away, and we're just waiting for the countdown. Just like Joss and Dex on GH. Um, I don't know what Stephanie thinks that she's doing, but I can tell you right now that it's going to be a disaster. Um, she assures Paulina, hey, we got this. Me and my team, we're gonna handle your problem. Okay? Don't worry about it. We're on the case. Okay, you have nothing to worry about. She hangs up the phone and Chad's like, alright, so what's the plan? And Stephanie's like, yeah, I'm still working on that pretty much. I'm like, wait, she put her faith in you. She could have chose any other sort of PR team. She chose you and your plan, because, well, to be honest, she didn't even have a plan. But eventually, her plan is to pass off counterfeit money. And while Chad is doing that, because at first Chad was like, "Oh, I'll give her some more money." Like, are you serious? Do you not actually understand how blackmail works? So she tells him no. So her plan again is apparently Steve and John got some, counterfeit money from some bad people, whatever. Um, And so I guess it was one of their little black pass jobs or whatever. So anyway, Chad is going to sit there and deliver Sloan the money, and Stephanie's going to break in and try to get the evidence. Now look at this whole thing, and I'm like, well, Stephanie, what if it's not at her place? What if this evidence isn't at her place? And on top of that, I mean, what this comes down to is a bad PR. So whoever this guy or girl is, whoever this mystery client is Sloan, you honestly think that if you take the evidence, he or she's not going to say anything anyway? And then Paulina is going to be in the exact same spot. Hell, actually going to be in a worse spot. I mean, come on now. Let's think about how it looks. Paulina hires some shady team to break into a lawyer's office to try to get evidence, covering up a crime of her daughter. Come on. I sat there and I was like, Stephanie, I know that this is a new job for you and you really want to branch out and this is your baby and everything like that, but you didn't have a plan. You reassured her that you had a plan. And now because you're scrambling, this is this is I don't even know if this is a rush idea or this is just a straight up stupid one, but either way, um yeah. And of course, when she does break in, she sees a half naked Alex that is handcuffed to the bed. So, and I kind of got to go back a little bit. So Alex is with Sunny, and he's like, listen, I'm just gonna go back to just hooking up randomly because I tried with Stephanie and it didn't work out. And of course, Sunny was on the phone with Will. They haven't seen each other in a while. They want to try to meet up, but Will's schedule is pretty packed. He can't do it. So, Sonny's disappointed, and that's why I said eventually they're gonna hook up. Um, Sonny was like, how about we just chill in, just watch some TV? And I was like, no, I got plans. And of course, his plans involve Sloan, because why not at this point? He gets over there, they start hooking up, and of course, Sloan gets the call from Stephanie saying we got the money, and so she leaves. And at one point, Alex is like, so what am I supposed to be doing while you're just kind of, going out there? I'm supposed to just be twiddling my thumbs? And I'm like, All right, I get it. I get it. I get it. Days you're on a streaming service, and you're gonna be a little more edgier. And come on, I mean, even when they were kissing and groping each other, there was like moaning and everything, and I'm like, I'm watching a soap opera, right? Okay, because I'm gonna be honest that the lines are starting to get blurred between the soap operas that I watch and the other stuff that I watch, and they're getting blurred. Okay, they're starting to kind of. Days is crossing a fine line. I'm just saying. Deidre Hall's like, no, everything's gonna be the same. Don't worry, we're not gonna be all like nudity and stuff like that. Okay, we're not gonna get too adult. Hmm. Sure. So she ties him up. Well, she handcuffs one of his arms to the bed, and I'm just like, Sloan, how often do you have these little hookup sessions that you do? Because the fact that the handcuffs are so fast to access, it was like, am I gonna find some honey in that little desk or whatever? What other little toys I'm gonna sit there and find in there? I'm like, it was just so fast. And of course, she meets up with Chad, and that's where it kind of cuts. Now, I'm gonna be honest. Part of this just seemed like it didn't. I feel like there was parts that just was not needed. Like in the end, when Chanel. Okay, so first of all, Allie's like, Chanel. Well, Allie gets home and sees Chanel, and Allie's like, hey, we got the place to ourselves or whatever. How about we call Alex? And at first, I was like, okay. But of course, Chanel's like, oh, I thought this was a one-time thing, and she's like, no, no, we're just gonna do drinks. So at first, I'm sitting there thinking that's who Alex was gonna meet, but again, one-time thing. Um, Chanel is about to sit there and tell Allie what's bothering her. Gets knocked on the door is Johnny. Johnny's like, I need a favor. Um, I need Wendy to sit there and stay, with y'all for a little bit until she can save up her own place. Talks about Ava and EJ and everything like that, and the project that they're working on, and pretty much like, hey, because at first he was like, do you have a, I just need a spare couch or whatever, and right off the bat, Allie was like, nope, not happening, no, no, no. And of course, she didn't even give him a minute to even explain. He was like, no, no, this isn't for me. This is for my friend. But long story short, they do agree to, allow her to stay. Now, how long she's going to stay, I don't know. Because Wendy, I don't see Wendy getting along with those two. I really don't. I don't see her getting along with those two, which could be kind of hilarious. Um, anyway, they agreed to stay. But I felt like, in some ways, I kind of felt like Johnny's request could have just been done off screen. I really felt like it could have just been done off screen. Like, why even bother to do that? Especially since Allie doesn't know anything about Chanel's problems. So, it kind of seemed like it was a bit of a waste when you really think about it. So, Abe tells Paulina that if she wins the governor's seat, then he's just going to quit his job and move in with her. He does later tell Maggie, and Maggie's not there talking to Sonny, where Sonny's watching a sad movie. And, they get to talking, and Sonny's like, well, maybe I should just give him, after hearing about what Abe is ready to do, Sonny's like, maybe I should just give up tight and just move in with him, move out there to LA with him. But he really loves working in Titan, and he doesn't want to sit there and leave. He says, quote unquote, I was born for this. Um, I gotta be honest, he seemed like he was really reluctant in the beginning, but whatever. He said he was born for it. He really wants to do it. Um, but now he's kind of caught in this whole thing where it's like he's out here, he's loving what he's doing, and Will loves what he's doing. And so it's like, why should one person give up their dream job, really? Sorry about that. I had to sit there and take that phone call. I think the last part, I know before I was sitting there talking about Sonny and what he was going to do. Now, I was thinking about this today, before I get to the last part. I was thinking about this today, just about the cast of Days and how well they used them, as opposed to GH. And they used them in such a smart way where it's like they're not just saving money, because let's be honest, they're saving money. But it's more than that, though. You know? Um, they don't just throw a bunch of people in there just because, oh, well, they got a contract and they got to sit there and appear in X amount of, scenes and stuff like that. It just, and granted, I can't sit there and speak for the beginning when I started watching it because there was some times where I was just like, what are you doing here? Like, there was an episode where you had Jennifer and Jack and they were like on this date night or whatever. And I'm like, what? Why are we showing these two for? You're not doing anything. And I remember, especially back in the day when I used to sit there and start, I got criticism for saying that they were just pretty much a waste of a scene, and this person was like, "Well, it's a romance show, and if you're not in the romance, then you shouldn't be watching this show." And I'm like, okay. I mean, granted, I think I handled it pretty well because, to be honest, I didn't really say too much of anything. But just looking at that now, like, I'm pretty sure my response would have been a whole lot more different. Um, my point is that they I feel like they use the cast a lot more smarter. Like, I know that the actor that plays Will, has, I think he's an engineer. So, he doesn't want to commit to it full time. And, they, whenever they need him, they'll call him. And if he can show up, he can show up. And he's usually there for scenes that is needed. And then when he's not needed, well, he leaves. I don't know. As every time, like when I watch all these different soap operas, I see how they use their cast. And, as much as I love GA, sometimes I'm just like, oh my goodness, you got way too many people. Um, So I'm glad they're not just using Will just to use him. I mean, eventually, if the actor is available, they'll have him come in, and of course, this will be at the point where Sonny would cheat, it was Leo, and yada yada yada. Now, speaking of Leo, Leo's outside, selling cookies or giving away cookies, and Sloan recognizes him. Sloan's like, "Yo, listen, I want my money. If I don't get my money, I'm gonna send collectors. These collectors, let's just say they don't take no for an answer." So with that being said, Leo decides to come out to talk to Paulina. Now this is after Abe left, and they get to talking, and I guess Leo complimented on her shoes. He's like, "Oh, I'm in a bit of some financial trouble, whatever." Talks about how he owes a lot of money to Sloan. And she's like, listen." And of course, she throws in her jokes about Mary and everything like that. Oh, Mary, the assistant, isn't really, she's not handling my business well like I need her to, so she may need, I may need somebody else. So long story short, she hires Leo to kind of help him out and everything like that. So everything seems like it's going well. Until Abe comes in there, and in the beginning, Paulina's like, "You look familiar. You look really familiar." And when Abe comes in there, Abe is just like, there's a particular reason why this guy's in there. Now, if you saw the previews, you know that he is having issues with Leo working there. Leo has a very, 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 very sketchy and terrible history. Speaking of terrible history, has the actor always done both shows, like on Days and Y&R? Or is that something new? I know Wally, I guess that's his name. He does Ned and he does Justin and stuff like that. So I'm just wondering if that's the same thing. I mean, obviously, I know like the Bay has a lot of soap opera actors and ex soap opera actors and stuff like that, but I'm just wondering, has that always been the case? I feel like that's about it. Um, it was an okay episode. It was a decent episode. The Alex, I actually touched it to Stephanie and Chad stuff, even though that her plan is, well, dumb. It was exciting to sit there and watch. Um, so I would sit there and say it was a decent episode. You should definitely check it out whenever you can. Yeah, it was a decent episode. It wasn't super great, but it wasn't terrible. It was passable. Still felt like it was probably the best episode of today. And I can sit there and say out of the four. Anyway, with that being said, I'm gonna go. I want to thank you for watching. Be safe, and I'll see you in the next video. My goodness, I almost actually forgot my own outro. Yeah, it's definitely time for me to go to bed.